So I get asked a lot, Ted, how do you write a story? How do you get inspired? Can you help me with my storyline? Well, I'll show you what I do. Maybe that'll help. Let me grab a cup of coffee. You guys enjoy the intro, and we'll talk in a second. I'm Ted Davies, and this is Ted Davies Artistry. That's a little bit better. Today what I wanted to go over was I probably would like to start out with my book Retrieve. I've got several other books that are in works right now, and I'm trying to make sure that they're still under wraps until they're into production. But I think Retrieve is probably the best example. What came about in 2019, August release, was Retrieve. And Retrieve is the first of a 5-book series, a sci-fi thriller that's based around tracking of a human soul through lives. 2 main characters, Max and Riley Satcher, are both doctors, and they come up with an algorithm that can track a human soul. This is set slightly in the future, and with the aid of Archimedes, their AI, their artificial intelligence, they run this algorithm to track Hitler's soul and when it's going to return, and try him for all the atrocities that happened during World War II. I came up with the idea originally about 10 or 12 years ago, and the idea of reincarnation being set in the future that would be more acceptable made the storyline work. My idea of the government having control of past life regression and how they would mandate that to prosecute you for crimes that you committed in a past life really intrigued me. And that is the basis of Retrieve. When I started writing this, it was on loose leaf paper, it was with a Sharpie marker, very, very basic. I ended up getting into a lot of these moleskin books, which are nice because they usually have title page, and you can get into writing and scripting a lot easier. At least I could. But I use up all of these pages. I go through, these are a lot neater because it's a later version of what I was writing, but when I'm writing these, I use up margins and cross things out, and I go through and I do stream of consciousness, and that's a big thing for me as far as writing down everything that comes to mind along with that story. And then you can always edit it out. That's the problem with a lot of people, is they stop. You don't need to. Keep going. Just keep writing. Get the story down. One of the reasons I went to a comic book format like Retrieve here is I could get it out to the world quicker. Not everybody's going to read a novel. I like the fact with comic books, you can take 15-20 minutes. You can read it on your lunch break at work. And that was one of the reasons I went through that avenue. I think that art is subjective, and I think that writing is an art, and it can be subjective. But I also believe that it'll resonate with the right people. I wouldn't worry about what's marketable or commercial or anything of that sort. Write from your heart. Write from passion that you think that story is going to work. Do it. Nobody's stopping you. The research, for me, I researched everything I could get my hands on, from Tibetan monks and how they find the new Dalai Lamas after the old one has passed away, a lot about World War II, and in Retrieve, it's a very eye-opening experience once you get into the storyline. I write so that I create, hopefully, a story that a critical thinker can appreciate. But I do a couple different things too when I write. I draw, because I'm an artist. I draw things out. I draw a character faces and uniforms, shadows on their face, all kinds of stuff to get a feel for that world. And that's something to where I think that as far as development goes, that's really key. If you can start out and get those first few sentences or the idea, the concept of that story down, and then work off of that. What I try to do is I usually have a pretty good idea about the idea of the story and a pretty good deal on how it's going to end. So I start with those two parameters, and then I build in the universe between them as I go. And that sometimes can mislead me a little bit, but the story does develop, it evolves. And even though I might not know how it evolves, it does happen. And it happens for a lot of authors like that from what I understand. So I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can write. If it's on the back of a napkin or you're trying to find what you're comfortable with right now, that's great. As long as you're starting to get the ideas down and work towards something, towards that goal of getting, even if it's a short story, something. I also suggest that you don't let everybody know what's going on in your storyline. Find a couple close friends that are supportive people that are going to tell you the truth about your story. Not ones that are all yes or fantastic, everything's great and sunshiny, but ones that are a little bit critical but not tearing you down. And if you can find that balance, you'll consider those people to be good friends. I want to thank you for your time today. Hopefully this was good for you and you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I wish you nothing but much success with all your creative endeavors. No envy, no fear. Have a great week. I'm Ted Davies, and this is Ted Davies Artistry.